to, if you have any questions in addition, you can also just type them into the chat and we'll all see them and be able to take a look at them. So we have a question here of, when we go back to school in the fall, will we be wearing masks or no, since everyone should be vaccinated?
It's a wonderful question, and I'll answer this in a couple of different ways. Number one, as of right now, if I was to answer that question, the answer is yes, we would be in masks. Guidance has changed several times, as you know, throughout the course of this year, from us being remote in the fall to becoming back partially for our elementary students, and then we became, hybrid learners coming into March time for IMS and for the high school. So the guidance continues to change. It just changed a week or so ago with new guidance regarding distancing inside of classrooms so we can fit more people in. And the same thing will go with masks, but it will not be a guarantee that everybody will be vaccinated. And so therefore, there is a chance that we'll still be in them in the fall. And as of right now, we would be. So that's our answer as of today. What I would just encourage all of you to do is to continue to check our district site out. We post updates on our COVID-19 kind of response plan and our safety protocols, and we continue to update these pieces. So I would continue to stay current throughout June and July and August as we approach your first year here at MIHS.
Okay, and are we going to school every day next year? And now that Mr. Rundle is here, maybe he can also answer this question. Are we going to school every day next year?
That's the plan. Absolutely the plan, and that's what we're doing all of our prep work to forge forward with. So yes, 5 days a week. There won't be an asynchronous type of day that I know many people loved and enjoyed in the past, but that is going to be going away as well. So yeah, we're really looking forward to having people on campus and being here on a more regular approach to learning. So the schedule has not been set necessarily, but it is our approach to be here 5 days a week. Thrilled to have our students back and to be on campus decked out in our maroon and white.
Okay, and then 2 people have asked, will we be able to eat at tables and interact with other people, or will we continue to be eating by ourselves separate from other people?
You know, it's interesting. I'd love to capture a video of our lunch, and I'd be happy. We have some still photos and a little bit of video of what lunch looks like at the high school right now. And I would tell you, many people eat together. They eat outside together. They eat in the amphitheater. They have chairs in the commons area, and they turn them towards one another and eat and laugh and joke and so forth. Tables have not been really discussed yet, but as of right now, we're still able to have lunch look like it's kind of looked in the past, just absence of a table, so we can still maintain the distancing that we want. So students still really get a chance to have fun. And I saw a group of students out yesterday during first lunch, like playing with the volleyball and eating and laughing and joking and so forth. All the things that you want out of lunch will still be able to be had with or without tables.
So all of our attendees, we have one more of our leadership students who's joining us. Kathy, do you think you could introduce yourself really quickly?
Yeah, sure. I did not know that. I had to press join as attendee and not host. So I'm Kathy. I'm a freshman and I'm in leadership class. And yeah.
Awesome. And then Mr. Rundle, you just came in. Do you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Sure. Good morning, Islanders and future MIHS Islanders. Want to begin with a thank you to our current MIHS students for jumping on this morning and engaging with your future colleagues, some of whom you were already in school with down at IMS, or maybe even in elementary school, though in different grades. Thanks for your leadership. And to you, Ms. McCon, Mr. Wold, thank you for facilitating. And to our 8th graders, thank you for jumping on this morning. We're hoping that we can continue to make your transition from the middle school to the high school as smooth as possible and get you excited about the adventure ahead. I have an 8th grade daughter myself in Issaquah, and she's quite nervous about the transition, and that's normal if you're feeling that as well, but there's also excitement in that. So I will just be listening in here this morning, and appreciate everyone, and very excited for you 8th graders coming up to the high school next year. You're in for an excellent experience, and one that you don't need to be worried about some of the things you might be today. And hopefully we're going to be able to ease some of that pressure for you so that you're leaving middle school on a high note and entering right where you left off.
Thank you. Okay. So let's address some of these smaller questions first, and then we can get to kind of, well, let's address some of those big topics, Ainsley, that you guys had kind of organized around some of the questions that we got. Did you want to share your screen, or did you want to start going forth and just working through stuff?
I can share the doc. So we created a Google Doc with links and pictures of things like schedules and our sports teams and our clubs. So just visuals that we can't really explain to you guys. I'll share that link in the chat. And I don't know if you guys could let me know if it works, but I will figure it out. Okay, copy link.
Make sure you send it to all panelists and attendees.
Okay. Let me know if that works. And then that's going to be really helpful throughout this webinar because it just says more than we could try and describe. Okay, I think this works because there's a lot of people on it. So on this document, we have our clubs, sports, bus routes, a map of our school, and this calendar for the next school year. And as well, we were able to get our hands on a copy of the normal schedule that we had last year, which we'll probably be reverting back to in the 2021 school year. Yeah.
So we have a few questions about kind of what the daily schedule looks like. So how about I share my screen and we can talk about, I could probably talk best about the daily schedule because this group has not seen the daily schedule for a long time. And so let's take a look at this daily schedule, everybody. So as you can see here, this is our 5-day-a-week schedule. And so Monday, Thursday, Friday are what we call 7-period days. And so that's when you would have all 7 of your classes. And then Tuesday and Wednesday are our block days. And so that's when you have your odd classes on Tuesday and your even classes on Wednesday. And those classes are 90 minutes. And this also includes the late start Wednesdays as well, which is a very treasured part of the high school week. Okay, I think at the middle school, you guys get early release. And you also end early on Wednesdays. So it's a late start and an early release. It's only by about 10 minutes, but that's okay. And in here, you can also see that we have different lunches, and your lunches are determined by your 4th and 5th period class. And we also have Islander hour in here in the middle of the day as well on Wednesdays. And so that's a 50-minute class period where you're with other students of your grade level, and you get to, there we go. And you get to work on homework. You get to talk about, topics related to what's going on in the school. That's when we have all of our surveys and our lessons. And so that is our daily schedule. And so let me take a look again at these questions. Okay, so how long is lunch and what lunch will freshmen have? Next year, lunches are, as you can see on the schedule that we shared, lunches are about 30 to 35 minutes. And there's not a freshman lunch. There is lunches based off of your 4th and 5th period. So for example, a lot of English teachers, we have second lunch. And so you would go to your English class if that's 4th or 5th period, and then you would go to lunch afterwards. But a lot of, I think, science and foreign language, in CCR, a lot of those teachers have first lunch. And so you would go to lunch and then go to your fourth or fifth period class. So that's how that would work as well. Okay. And okay, so let's turn the questions more over to our leadership students. I'm confused about the freshman leaving campus thing. Could you explain?
I got this. So our school is a closed campus for freshmen. So freshmen are not supposed to leave for the day, which is fine because you guys can't even drive yet. So I don't know where you want to go. So just get lunch at the school. It's really yummy. They have so much food. So I don't think you need to go anywhere at all. And the only time you would leave is when you had a away game.
Could you maybe talk about the different things that we can do during lunches?
Yeah, lunches you can basically sit anywhere in the school, obviously not in like an active class because that would just be extremely disruptive. Last year we could sit everywhere. I don't know about maybe COVID this year, but personally I would sit in the locker room or just sit in like the English hall or something. Because I know one of the questions was where do the freshmen eat lunch? And so the way our cafeteria is set up is there's like a part above it, and then there's some steps, and then there's a little part right in front of the kitchen, and that's typically where all the freshmen sit, and then it just moves up like sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
Lainey.
And also during lunch, you can't eat in the library, but if you're done with eating, a lot of people go to the library and do any extra homework they have, or it's like, it's just a really good time to relax in general. But yeah, the library is open during lunch, and I know that that's can be a really productive place for a lot of people. And I've definitely used some extra time to study before tests and do some extra homework. I thought it was really helpful.
It's also a really great time to handle, paying any fees you might have at the athletic office or at the ASB office. It's a great time to try and, see a teacher. So you can't leave during lunch, you can't leave during your off period, but there's a lot of things for you to do. And as freshmen, it's better for you guys to be on campus so that way you can get your lay of the land. Okay, and then so one of the other questions is, what is the hardest part of honors classes, and what is kind of the difference between honors and non-honors classes? Sadie.
Yeah, so I took honors chemistry and physics last year in freshman year. And I'd say the biggest difference between honors and regular is that honors classes move a little faster, as well as they give a little bit more work, especially freshman year. And I would say the biggest thing is don't stress if you're not taking honors. You do not have to take honors. It's a choice. If like, say you want to go into a science or a math major in college, then I would recommend taking honors classes, but you don't have to at all. It's definitely a little bit more work, especially if you're doing like sports or any other things outside of school. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think part of the biggest thing I've noticed is homework load is definitely, and it's not necessarily even like the amount of homework you get, but it's usually like the time it takes. A lot of times if you have an assignment for an honors class, it will take a lot longer, or like it will just be a longer assignment. And also another thing is like just the way it's taught. Like Sadie said, it is a more fast-paced class, a fast-paced classroom in general, and you have these peers that are somewhat at a higher level for this specific topic, so it kind of just flows more quickly. And another thing is like a lot of, I know this is, I've never taken an honors math class, but I know specifically like in that like honors math type, it's like you learn things separately and then have to apply them yourself, and like mend those concepts together, and you have to do like some work outside the classroom, so it's not really like a teacher tells you this and this and this. It's more you're like finding your way yourself, and it's, I feel like, more an independent class. So that's like some difference with some honors classes, but it honestly also depends on like what the teacher has, and it's not the same for everyone, and everyone like has different experiences with it.
Kathy.
Yeah, so I want to just everything that Lainey said was like on point, and as well as Sadie. I just also want to say, like, I feel like for me as a freshman this year, the class that had the most difference taking honors versus in middle school was science classes, because I know that in middle school you kind of repeat a lot of concepts over the few years, whereas like you completely move into new material. So if you feel like you aren't really prepared for like science, or like science really isn't your strong point and you don't like want to go take honors, I would say go for like regular, because I feel like honors, there, depending on your teacher too, there is more homework and it is like more rigorous speed that you're going at.
Okay. And we have had a few questions in the chat about just sports. And so I'm wondering if anybody wants to talk about, you know, how sports is a really, like what being on a sports team as a freshman and sophomore is like.
I can talk about that. So in my freshman year, I was the captain of a soccer team, and I had so much fun doing that. So if you guys are thinking of joining a sport, just do it, or at least try it out for a year. It's also really good for college applications. So pick a sport and stick with it if you want that. Personally, I would recommend for the girls, join badminton, easiest PE credit ever, nicest coaches, just and also sports can be used as a PE credit if you have 2 seasons of them. So just keep that in mind, so you don't have to take multiple PE classes, because those can be, no offense to the PE teachers, a little bit of a dread, because it's just working out in jeans. Mr. Wolch, you're not a PE teacher. I don't feel bad.
I support our PE teachers. I think they're wonderful, Ainsley, and I love being in their classes. Mr. Swanson, who teaches PE, and Mr. Cree, who teaches PE, do a fabulous job. So, but don't let that discourage you from taking a sport and wanting to get your PE credits that way. But it is a wonderful experience in our PE classes. I am our athletic director, so I know a little bit about our sports programs here. And I'll say this, whether you're the most gifted future Division I, professional athlete, or you're the person that just wants to go and make some new friendships, we have a place for you. We have a place for all types of people that want to participate. We have sports that have cuts. We have sports that don't have cuts. We have sports that are participation based. We have other ones that are looking to win the state championship. So we have everything under the sun for students to participate in. And I would encourage all of you to find one that you would enjoy. If that's something that you're interested in, we also have, 80 approved clubs. So if sports isn't your bag, you're welcome to join some of our many different clubs, Key Club, DECA, a variety of cool things that we really have as opportunities for students to get involved. That's how you build a foundation of being connected to our school. And so I really hope that our incoming students find a place they can call home and find other peers that they can connect with. So some really wonderful opportunities. We have more students participate in athletics than any other school in our league. And so it's something like 80% of our population. So I'm really proud. It's more than Bellevue. It's more than 4A schools like Skyline or Issaquah or any of their neighboring schools. So, we like to beat those schools in everything we do. So anyways, that's my spiel, Ainsley.
Okay, I worded it wrong. It's more like you'd rather be stressing out about an AP class than stressing about walking for fitness, Like just take it outside of school and you'll have so much more freedom to get the credits that you need in school.
Walking for fitness is the best class we offer.
For block when you have to walk for like 2 hours inside the school when it rains.
And we have wonderful support systems for our students who take AP classes as well. So we don't necessarily have to find stress in those classes. We can find them as wonderful opportunities to enhance your learning.
All right. And we'll let Sadie and Grayson talk, and then we're getting a lot of questions about clubs as well. So we will switch gears to that after Sadie and Grayson.
I can go. I was on varsity gymnastics last year and this year, and I'd say our sports are definitely a community, like within the sport that you are in, especially like for things like football, like obviously big football games, but it's definitely like more of a community, and it's really fun to make new friends within the sport that you are in. And freshmen as well, like I was freshman when I got varsity, so it's definitely like freshmen can do sports. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I was on varsity tennis this year and then JVC basketball and soccer, and I just highly encourage doing sports as a freshman. You might not be the best at doing sports, but it's just a great way to meet new people. A lot of the time you meet like upperclassmen and people like that. Like for the tennis team, I met a lot of the seniors and created like good connections and bonds with them, whereas you normally wouldn't be able to like just chat with them in the halls and all like that. So I really encourage doing sports.
All right. So we have a lot of people in the survey also wanted to know about clubs and extracurricular activities. So I think it'd be great, panelists, maybe you could share maybe one of the clubs that you are a part of, if you're a part of a club, and explain what it adds to your high school experience. Yeah, Kathy.
Okay, yeah, highly recommend doing clubs. It's like equal as sports, except for it's like a different type basically. And one club I would really recommend is doing speech and debate club, because it's super fun. You learn a ton about like public speaking. Even if you don't like public speaking originally, it's like a great experience. And clubs, just like sports, you get to meet upperclassmen, especially when you're a freshman. It's really important that you like making that bond, because it really makes your experience more enjoyable. You get to go to like tournaments or matches or like competitions in all these different clubs, and you learn a ton of different things than you normally would in school. And there's like clubs for like basically everything. We have like a Bob Ross fan club, and I think we had like a yogurt club or something. Just go on the list, and if you see a club that you don't like, or like that you do like, you can join it. Or if you don't see a club that you wanted to do, then you can always just make one, because it's a really simple process.
Yeah, kind of it's super fun to like meet new people, and it's also super interesting. Like I've been to a couple of clubs and they have had such interesting like guest speakers. I think one of them was like from the head of Microsoft, which was super interesting to listen to. I mean, not the head of Microsoft, like a head of the department at Microsoft. But I am also going to be the president of a club next year, not trying to recruit anyone, but you should definitely join Lean In Club. It's kind of about like how to set up your career, especially for women.
Andrew.
Yeah. Sorry, just to hop in, I'm in psych club right now, and it's a new club. It's really fun and exciting. And we have psych, AP psych for juniors and seniors, but it's pretty hard to get into because lots of people are joining it and stuff like that, and like want to join it. And we don't, because it's a new club, this is first year, and so we're just kind of like figuring it out as it goes, so we don't go to like these big like tournaments or anything like that, but it's just fun to like talk and like just discuss things that interest us, and I think that's really cool.
I really think what all my panelists are trying to say is that there is a club for everyone. You can do as little or as much. You can, go to big tournaments in different states for speech club, or you can do a tinier club. I think there's a LaCroix club where you can talk or drink or give out LaCroix, right? So there's really as much or as little you want to do, and as many clubs you want to do. And depending on the club, some, you might only have to spend an hour a week doing it, or some, you might spend multiple hours if you're in speech and debate. But really, there is a club for everyone, and there's different people in all these clubs. So don't try to only go to one or two clubs. Go to a couple. If you don't like it, we have tons and tons of clubs. And really quickly, do you need to sign up for clubs? Is there a due date for a sign up? Not really. Usually you can just pop into a club, and as you start to go more and more, they'll just put your name down as a member. There's no documents. Some clubs do require a fee, depending on maybe they buy books or maybe they do some sort of fundraising. But that just depends on the club, but there is no kind of like official due date. But I mean, clubs overall, just, go to a couple, try them out, go to LaCroix Club or speech and debate. There's really something for everyone.
Yeah, touching back on what Andrew said, I'm in 2 clubs right now. I'm in Model UN and it only meets once a month, but we have like a tournament and everything still. So it really, and then I'm in Women in STEM too, and we only meet once a week, but that's like more than Model UN. But what I'm trying to say is like all the clubs meet at different times. And so you can go into like a really high effort club or a really low effort club. And either way, you're going to have a lot of fun.
So we're getting a few questions about how there's not a whole lot of, like, there's some clubs that aren't on that list, and there are some clubs that aren't on that list. There are so many clubs and they're often popping up kind of throughout the year that list is not always the most up to date. So for example, there's some clubs that I'm an advisor of. One is called the SCORE Club, Student Groups on Race Relations. That's more of like an activist, anti-racist club. And so that is not on the list, but we meet every Wednesday and we discuss ways that we can make our school a more anti-racist and safe place. And something else about the clubs for everybody to know is that it's not just about activities you do, it's also there's clubs for certain identities. And so we have a QSA, which is like a safe place for the students to hang out and for them to be. All right, thank you, Mr. Wold, for coming. We will see you later this week.
Take care.
And sorry, so clubs for certain identities. So QSA is a club for our students, for not just our queer students, but also our students who identify as straight or heterosexual. And it is for them to kind of be support systems for each other. There's also our Asian student union called ECAR. There's our Black student union called BSU. There's our Jewish student union. And so if you can think of something for a club to be, there's a group for it, and it's really easy to make one. So I highly encourage you that if there's not a club for you, you can get a few friends and you can make a club. Right, Ainsley.
I just wanted to give a little plug to leadership because a lot of the classes don't do this. I want you guys next year, actually do it right now, download Facebook so that you're prepared for next year, and you guys will have a class of 2025 Facebook group. Actually use it because it is really helpful. We put all our stuff on there and then get like 4 views, and it's really sad. So please listen to your then freshman class officers. They'll be posting so many updates. It's just going to be so much easier to keep up with like social events, spirit days, games, and just fundraisers and all that stuff.
So there's a few questions about the books that we read in school. And I'll admit I put that question there because I'm an English teacher, and so I like to be asked about the books we read. But if you guys maybe could talk about some of the books we read, or maybe just some of the things that you learned, like what was your favorite thing that you read or learned in your freshman and sophomore years for our attendees to just get excited about.
Personally for me, in 10th grade, you read a book called Purple Hibiscus, and it's one of the best books that I've ever read. I don't read. To be honest, guys, I haven't read a book since 5th grade until Purple Hibiscus, but I succeeded through English. But read, it's actually interesting. It makes English so much easier. In 9th grade, you get to read a graphic novel, which is nice. You get to read Mice and Men. At least in regular classes, I'm talking about Mice and Men, and Aristotle and Dante is so good. Didn't read that, but the chapter that I read was so good. Okay, go lady.
Yeah, I remember, so like I was in honors English last year, and I don't know if normal English does this, but in the summer we had to read the Odyssey. I think that was like our summer reading book. And then that was like, I think, a really fun way to kick off the year. And then I think we read Gilgamesh next, which was super interesting since that's like the first recorded text or book ever written. That was super cool. Later in the year, we read Romeo and Juliet. And this year, as a sophomore, we read Night and Catcher in the Rye. There's just some really, really good texts we read. And there's kind of a different type of book for everyone. And it's not really like the same. And we do a lot of poetry units too. It's just kind of all over the board, which I think makes it a lot more fun and interesting. But I've really liked most of the books that we've read. And I definitely agree with Ainsley. I know a lot of people just like read summaries online or don't really read the book, but it's is this a shock to you, Miss McCall?
Not really, not really.
But yeah, just super fun. And I've had so many super good, engaging discussions in my English classes. And I mean, if you read the book, it makes it that much more interesting. So definitely recommend that.
Grayson.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with Lainey. Reading the books makes English class so much easier. And it's a lot easier to like be involved in discussions and to actually write and like improve on your writing. So yeah, don't just read the summaries.
Lindsay?
Yeah, you would be shocked that reading the book is actually really good for English class. But I recommend reading it a couple times because actually, I don't know. But I personally just like, I'm awful at retaining information. So I have to read the book like at least like a solid 14 times before what's it called? Before retaining like a word. But also leaning into that, you can also, this isn't kind of even related, it's a little bit related, but most teachers are really like good with like extending due dates and stuff if you just ask them and you're like, hey, so I'm reading the book right now and I know that the paragraph is due today, could I maybe get it in tomorrow? Most will be like, yeah. So
I think I heard that from you a few times last year, Lindsay. Right, Ashlyn.
Yeah, to add on to the actually read the book thing, I know it seems really easy to just like skim the Spark Notes or whatever. A lot of teachers have CD checks where they'll actually just pull a quote from the book and you have to elaborate on where it is in the book, how it connects and stuff. You can't use, it's a lot harder to use Spark Notes for that. It's a lot easier to just read the book, guys. I know it seems dumb, but please just read the books.
Sadie.
Yeah, going along with reading the books, it's definitely a lot easier to like be involved with discussions and stuff. And if you like even find, like, I know I use this multiple times, but I try to find audiobooks, and that really helps me if you're listening to an audiobook and like following along in your book, or following along if like the audiobook has the words as well, like it's something on YouTube or something. I know that there are a good amount of audiobooks for all the books that we read, which is really nice.
Yeah, if you as kind of Say was saying, this is a really good point. If you're not a fan of reading, or reading can be sometimes really challenging or takes you a long time, a lot of teachers will post either PDFs or not PDFs, MP3s of the book that you can listen to. Also, if you have a 504 plan, an IEP, you can talk to your counselor. Our high school counselors are great, and they will find ways for you to be able to either listen to it or maybe have it read to you. So really, if reading can be a little challenging or take a long time, there is other accommodations that will that if you're not already using in the middle school, you can use in the high school.
Right. So could maybe some of our fine arts people maybe talk about their experiences in music, band, drama, or visual arts? Right, Sadie.
Okay, so I last year took drama 1 and drama improv. And this year I'm taking drama 2, and I highly recommend the drama program. It is such a good program, and it's so cool. You have class on the stage in the theater, which is super cool. There's also a drama tech class where you can help build the sets for the shows and help like run lighting, run sound, and it's really cool. And you learn like the background, I guess, of what goes on during a performance. Drama 1's more of you have to take drama 1 to get into drama 2, and then drama 2 is the class that puts on all the shows for the school, except for the musical. The musical is open to everyone. Last year we did Mamma Mia. This year we did The Theory of Relativity. Both really fun. But yes, the drama teacher Melgar is amazing. It's a really fun class, and I highly recommend because you make so many close relationships. I've met so many people already through the musical and through my drama classes, and it's really fun.
Yeah, just adding on to that, I personally have only done one fine arts thing, so I don't even know why I raised my hand, but I really loved it and really enjoyed it. I did dance, which was a new thing. It just started last year, so I did it my freshman year, and Melgar was the teacher, sweetest woman on planet Earth. She's amazing. And it was also really great because we got to learn like about different cultures and like through dance and stuff like that, and it wasn't just like dancing and stuff. I don't know, if you're interested in dance, join that one especially. But I've heard that the theater program is amazing. Not even just heard, I've also seen the theater program is amazing, like absolutely incredible. And if you're like, oh well, I'm just not good at acting, they will make you good at acting, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, all the fine arts things are just so much fun. You have to join them.
My little tidbit about fine arts credits. Personally, I would choose a class like yearbook or radio, or is that a fine arts credit? Yeah, yearbook or radio, or I don't know if journalism. No, that's totally not. But do
There's
yearbook.
so much fun.
Do yearbook. Just I would choose one that you can stick with, because personally, I would not choose to just take a random like drawing and painting class. I think it's more beneficial to join a class where you could get your finance credit and also business. So join yearbook. Please join yearbook. It's awesome. I'd be your editor. You get CCR credits for yearbook. Sorry, I'm just talking about yearbook now. You just get all your credits. You get elective, CCR, fine arts. So take that class, and it shows commitment.
I don't know if anybody's talked about this yet, but our band is amazing. I highly recommend doing the band. I wasn't able to do it this year, but I did it all throughout middle school, and I've just heard so many great things about the band. We have like one of the best bands around. I think they went to the Rose Bowl a couple years back, and the teachers are really nice, and everybody who does band really enjoys it. So.
Yeah, just adding on to that band thing, just super quick. My brother was in band his entire high school career and like middle school career, and I got to go to the Rose Bowl because of it. And so like, I'm not complaining. It's fun, and they also are like amazing. Like, are you kidding? So sign up.
Yeah. You guys started talking about the CCR classes as well, and even in the fine arts classes. You guys, if you stick with something that you're interested in, and this is for freshmen, like for the incoming freshmen, if you stick with something you're interested in, there's leadership opportunities within those classes. So you heard Ainsley say, like, I'm going to be the editor of the yearbook. And that's an awesome thing to be. Journalism has an amazing editorial team, an amazing editor team, and they work so hard and they put together amazing stuff. And so you can, within these classes, there's different leadership opportunities for you to have. So the classes do become sort of like a club that you're a part of. Yes, and we had a question about choir. I don't know if we have anybody in choir, but the choir is also amazing, and they are a class, not a club. And so that is with Miss Rockow, and she's wonderful. Okay. So you guys, we're gonna wrap it up here in about 2 minutes. And so I'm hoping that, and if there's any questions that we did not get to, attendees, if you guys could put that into the chat and we can try and answer them. But as we're doing these things, that's actually, so Iris, that is the question I was actually going to ask our freshmen and sophomores. What is the thing that you appreciated the most and you're so glad you did? And then what is something that you wish you did your freshman or sophomore year? So maybe we go around and we share that. Yeah. So, all right. Okay, Ainsley.
Personally, I regret only taking 6 classes. I know 7 classes seems a little scare and they tell you not to do it. But for me, it's been really, Lindsay, don't contradict me. Okay, so this year I took 7 classes. I don't know if it's the online or the fact that I don't take any honors courses because I don't feel the need to. So personally, it's been easy for me. I regret not taking 7 classes in my freshman year so I could get the credits in my or have fun in my senior year. And that's something I would recommend doing. Do all the poopy stuff in the beginning. So do like all your, I don't even know what the poopy stuff would be.
I think it depends on your person.
Yeah, I just like do all the stuff that you don't want to do in your last year of high school that you're like dreading to do. And then you can have so much fun in your senior year.
Well, Ainsley, I agree to disagree. I understand completely like where you're like 100% if you can and if you're good with doing the work and stuff, 100% take 7 classes. And like if you're up to that. But I tried to do that and I ended up like nearly failing like 4 classes. So if you are a little bit like, if you're like me and you get very overwhelmed very quickly and it's very hard to kind of keep up with your classwork and stuff, don't overwhelm yourself. Also, take they have like, I think it's worded, it's called something else, but like study hall, and have an off period and stuff like that. Like actually do your work. I really regret just kind of slacking off my freshman year and my sophomore year, just being like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's just the first 2 years, or it's just freshman year or whatever. It does matter. It really does. Because also building like bad habits and stuff. That being said, though, if you do get all like D's or F's your freshman year, it doesn't really matter. But like, don't build those bad habits. Also, my favorite thing, and the thing that I would recommend everyone to do, leadership. I love leadership, and it's a really great class. So don't overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, I definitely regret not building good habits, I guess, in freshman year with schoolwork and stuff, because that's definitely like come back this year, and I've been building better habits this year. But yes, try to build good habits in freshman year, as well as I regret not taking the radio class last year. I took it this year, but radio, Andrew, yes, Andrew's in leadership. I don't know what your role is in radio, but it's a really cool class. And yeah.
Grayson.
Yeah, just kind of adding on to what Lindsay and Ainsley were saying. I think the most important thing with freshman year is just to build good habits and kind of setting like an example for how you want to experience high school. Don't be too involved in school. Don't be studying every single night. Have some fun. Go to sports games. Try and experience the high school culture. Because you only live high school once, so try to make the most out of it. Obviously, work hard in all of your classes, but don't feel too stressed in high school, because I personally, when I joined like as a freshman, I was like really stressed out and like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to get into college because I did poorly on one assignment. It's like, no, just work hard in your classes and you'll get there. So just do your best.
Winston.
All right, yeah. So, I mean, I guess something adding on to like something I wish I had done during freshman year is I wish I would have like done like planning out a class schedule for like the entire like 4 years of high school, because that way like with like I had no idea as a freshman about like graduation requirements and what I needed, so I was stuck with like finding out how to fit in like 2 credits of art, for example, into my classes. So yeah, just like a really good tip is to plan out your 4 years of high school, what kind of classes you want to take on like a piece of paper or something like on Naviance, which is, yeah, something you guys do in freshman year.
And talking to your academic counselor, your alpha counselor, they can definitely help you out with that. And just on that note, you can still make changes to your schedule. That was a question we had earlier. You would just email your academic counselor and I'll get that website for you guys and I'll put it into the chat to all the attendees. Right, Andrew.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for freshman year is finding balance. It's good because, you know, you're going to be a freshman, right? So do a couple of clubs, do a couple of sports, but don't stress yourself out. And don't also, there's seniors, juniors, and sophomores. So if you're getting to a club, don't expect that. Me as a freshman, I had the mindset of, okay, I need to be, a president of this club. I need this position in radio, right? Like there's multiple years, and just as long as you do the work, people notice. If that's the teacher, if that's other classmates. So just like, don't stress about, I know it's really hard to say. I mean, it's like, I can say it, but it's hard to listen to it, but just don't stress out about leadership positions. I mean, everyone here can say how fast high school goes. I mean, we're going to be juniors, and it felt like yesterday we were freshmen walking into the school for the first time. So it's important to have fun and just have good habits. I still procrastinate to, I'm up until 10:30 doing an assignment that I've had 2 weeks to do. Don't do what I do. And, if you can manage your time and work on managing your time, then you're able to have so much more fun. You're able to do so much more things, and, high school will be really enjoyable for you.
Kathy.
Yeah, so everything that everyone else said was 100% true. I just want to really emphasize about like classes and like finding opportunities. Like, don't like overwork yourself to try to be like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, but really hone in on what you're interested in. Like, one thing that I regret about freshman year is like beforehand not really setting in stone like what classes I would want to pursue further. And I know that's something that you can't really tell if you haven't taken those classes, but if it's something like, for example, if you take like Spanish your first year and the next year you're like, actually, I want to do French, right? That's kind of 1 year of Spanish that you're not going to go back to, and you have like one less year of French that you can go learn. So really make sure you have like your focus on what you're interested in and what you think you want to carry out through high school, and then really commit to all those things, because it really makes like your entire schedule organizing and like your everything just like more straightforward for yourself.
Ashlyn.
Yeah, something important is that you gotta realize, especially if you're taking honors classes, is that you are gonna have to do some work outside of class. So this is something that I didn't really realize before, which was not a good idea, because then in chemistry I was like, wait, but we didn't learn this before, and I didn't realize that I should have done that work outside of class. So that's something that you really gotta go in with that mindset. Like, if I take these honors classes, I will be needing to do work outside of class.
Sadie.
Sorry, I did not hear that. Yes, sorry. Definitely with languages, I personally still have not taken a language, because I have been planning to do a program called Running Start next year, my junior year, and take ASL or American Sign Language at Bellevue Community College, which is Running Start is a super cool program open to juniors and seniors. And I personally knew that I was going to take these classes, which is why I didn't stress about foreign languages freshman year and sophomore year as well. So yes, if you are stressing about your language credits and you definitely want to try to find an alternative to, instead of taking French or Spanish, which the French and Spanish classes are both really cool as well, but I recommend trying to take ASL or American Sign Language, because it's, for me, definitely a more visual class rather than reading, writing, that stuff. So yeah.
Grayson.
Yeah, so I saw one question in the chat about how do you balance stress in school and having a social life. And I think the most important thing is not to procrastinate. Like this year, obviously there's a lot more work than in middle school. And I think the most important thing is just right after school, I would just grind it out. And then you'd have all the time in the world to hang out with friends and go to basketball games, soccer games, and all the other stuff. And you'd be a lot less stressed. um, so just take your time, finish your work, tell your friends that you're finishing homework, and then you can go hang out with them, and it just makes your life so much easier.
Ainsley.
And my best tip that I could ever give anyone is self-advocacy is the most important part of high school. You will not succeed if you can't email your teachers and tell them, hey, I'm sick. I just need a couple more days to do this. You're going to stress yourself out if you can't communicate properly. So just communicate with your teachers, communicate with other students, and make your life a whole lot easier. And honestly, I wouldn't stress about college at all, especially in your freshman year, because this school is harder than most every other high school. All the new students come here and they're like, oh, the homework is so hard. I'm like, what? I've been doing this since kindergarten. It's the same thing. So I guess it's just personal for me. I've been in this district since kindergarten, so it feels like just normal school to me, but it's gonna prep you for college no matter what class you take, and no matter how much effort you put into it, because it's an academically rigorous high school, but it's what you're used to and it's what we've done our whole life.
And Kathy.
Yeah, just super quickly on a question someone asked about like how do you know what work to do out of school? I would say like I took honors classes this year, and I think one of the most important things is that if there's a concept you don't get, don't just be like, oh yeah, it's fine, like we'll probably figure it out later. Like actually go put in the effort to go find out what you don't know, and then find out how you're going to like understand. Yeah, go to office hours or like talk with your teachers, and don't just let like one thing like turn into a snowball and like wreck a house and all that stuff, you know, like don't don't let one small issue that you don't understand like ruin like your experience in a class. It really doesn't take that long to go like talk with your teachers or go online for a bit and like find out what you don't know and how you can try and understand it.
Right. If you could give one piece of advice to, oh, well, actually, here's what we should do. I want you guys to give one last piece of advice to our incoming ninth graders, and then tell them how they can reach you if they have any questions. So Ainsley, would you like to start?
Yes, first I have a question for you. Can I give them my phone number? I don't know if I want to do that. It might be
Well, let's focus on our emails. Yeah,
okay,
our school emails. Yeah.
Emails. I'll put them in the chat later. My one piece of advice is, oh boy, I didn't think I was gonna go first. Anyone else have something first, and then I'll like tailgate. Go, Sadie, go.
Yes, my piece of advice is find something that you want to be doing in high school. Like find something like a class that you possibly would want to pursue, because we have so like a huge variety of classes. Like if you're interested in journalism and broadcasting, you could take the journalism class, or that's a class. Yes, that's a class. Or you could take, I know it's a club, but yes, it's a class as well. Or broadcasting, you can take the radio class, drama class. Definitely try to take those classes because they're so cool and they will help you. Yes.
Grayson.
Yeah, adding on to Sadie, I think the most important thing is just to like make new friends in high school. It's like it sounds kind of cheesy, but just be outgoing. Go to the sports games. Like you're in high school now, you can be in the student section, and just like meet new people. I've had a really fun time this year, just joining leadership and other sports teams and just meeting upperclassmen. And I think it's really important to just not be stuck in your little group and pod coming into high school and be open to meeting new people, because there's a lot more people at the high school. So yeah.
Ashlyn.
Yeah, do clubs, do sports. It's so much easier to make friends if you're in clubs with them. And it's it's really fun to make new friends with new people. Like through leadership and through my clubs, I've met a lot of people that I never would have thought I would have been friends with. And it's really great. So make sure you do clubs because they make your experience a lot more fun.
Ainsley.
So I was thinking about this, and my biggest piece of advice is to get close with your class because they're going to be the people that's going to be with you for all 4 years. Like I said, I've been in this district since kindergarten, so there's maybe like 30 people that I've known for, how old am I? We'll say like 10 years. Like I've known Lindsay since 3rd grade and we're really close, and I've known Sadie since 6th grade. So just get close with your class. Your senior year will be more fun that way. I pinky promise, because you know everybody and it's just way more fun.
All right, Kathy.
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned this before, but just make sure you find something to commit to throughout high school. Like, it's so much better to have like 2 or 3 things that you're really dedicated to than like running around to 50 different clubs and like 50 different sports practices, and you're just kind of like half-hearting all of them because you don't have like the time or energy. It's going to be so much better on what you get out of whatever activity you choose, and like on your own overall experience. And like just like if you're interested in like for college, like if you get to go deep into one thing, that's so much better than just like kind of skimming the surface on everything else. And like just don't stress about it. It kind of comes naturally, and you'll find out what you enjoy as you go into high school. So don't be too worried if you don't know what you want to do right now, like you're in 8th grade, freshman, whatnot.
All right, Andrew.
My biggest thing kind of is everyone's already touched. Just do as much or as little as you want. You know, no matter what, there is a place for you. Radio, journalism, clubs, sports, classes. I mean, there's so much. For me, I don't play a sport, one of the 20%. I know, right? And people can give me a hard time for it, but I really found my thing in leadership and radio. You know, we have a radio station that I love, and leadership. You know, over this past year, I've been working with the administration on COVID response. So no matter what you do, and if you don't do something that everyone else does, there's always something for you. And if you're stressed out about it, it makes sense. But again, you can email anyone, and we all have different clubs and things that we can put you in. We have people we can contact you with, and have as much fun as you can. You know, you only have 4 years. Make it your best 4 years you can.
All right, and Winston.
Yeah, just touching back on what everybody else said. I don't think I have anything to say any more than that. But yeah, just spend 9th grade during your freshman year trying to like find things you're passionate in, join clubs, do sports, and yeah.
All right, so with that, everybody, all of our attendees, we really look forward to seeing you next fall. And we don't have set plans yet for a freshman orientation for you guys to come into the building, but I know that we will have one. We just don't know what that's going to look like yet. So be on the lookout for information regarding that over the summer. So that way we hope that we see you guys in the fall, and we look forward to seeing you at freshman orientation, whatever that will look like in August. All right, thank you everybody for coming. We will post a link. We'll post a recording of this to Schoology, and we really look forward to seeing you all. Thank you so much for coming.